Hey guys, welcome back. I know that we are running just a little bit ahead of schedule right now, which is okay, not a big deal. They aren't back yet, but I'm here. You can talk to me. Legionnaires, I do see that your session's in there. Today's topic is we're going to do what are we going to do? We're going to do a review of Gamehole Con, because Kathy went to that. And when we are also going to do discussion about how social gaming at a convention when you're not with your buddies. So what's it like? How should you act? What should you do? So on and so forth whenever you're going to be playing with people that aren't your normal crowd, especially at a convention.
Nice.
So pretty lengthy, pretty interesting topic. I have quite a bit to say on that whenever we get started. But we need to take a very long, very hard, and very wonderful and sad tribute today.
Yeah.
As everybody knows, Stan Lee passed away. Ooh, what was that? Oh, John subscribing.
Shameless self-support.
Shameless self-support. Stan Lee passed away this week.
Wait, why are we off the air?
We shouldn't be
Are
off
we
the air.
not? Do I need to I need to refresh it.
Yeah, you refresh.
Sorry.
No problem. And we all. It's not really a surprise, guys. He was 95 years old. It is sad still because I guess he's being called the father of imagination now. By the way, some people have started calling him that, which is okay.
That might be selling it a bit extra, but I'm down with that.
It could be.
Father of imagination. There are so many creative storytellers out there that I admire.
I understand, but he's one that's definitely up there.
Erica.
Yeah. So I mean, everything's really cool. I mean, it's a sad thing, but he was 95. That's a long life. That's a long, long life.
Mm-hmm. But he will be missed. I mean, he's been in a ton of movies. He was sort of a staple. That's true good touchstone in the Marvel movies. Always seen Stan Lee, and he was responsible or helped promote so much of sort of the media we love.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's going to be weird. The first movie that he doesn't do a cameo in that's a Marvel movie. Someone did make a joke that Deadpool should do the cameo from here on out, wearing a wig and mustache and sunglasses of him from here on out, which I thought was kind of a funny thing. But it's just me.
Funny. I think maybe just let it go, though. I mean,
it will be.
Like we said, some things that time moves on, things change. You gotta keep going forward.
So, with that, we're gonna go ahead and go with our drinks. Kathy, what you drinking?
I'm drinking Sapphire Gin, and I kind of bastardized the recipe that somebody a few weeks ago posted in the chat here. I used lime juice, and instead of simple syrup and a garnish of cucumber, I used the cranberry Sprite that they're selling now at the grocery store. And I was like, cranberry Sprite? That sounds like it'd be delicious with gin. And I was right. And I did put a little of the lime juice in there, too, for that extra taste of lemon.
Lemon?
And, the old, never mind.
I'm with you.
So that's what I'm having, minus the garnish of cucumber, because really, who wants a salad with their drink?
Correct.
I mean, I'll take a salad. I'm kind of hungry.
No. Not with your drink.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I have nothing.
Oh, I have 7-Up mixed with Kraken, but I'll be starting off with a shot of Dr. McGillicuddy's Intense Apple Pie Liquor.
Oh.
Ooh. I should have brought out the apple pie moonshine, but I didn't. Mine today is a little bit more Evan Williams, because I saw that bottle and I was running a little late, and I just went, oh, I'll grab that.
I don't know what any of that means.
It's whiskey.
Whiskey. It's just straight up.
It's mediocre.
Yeah, it's a mediocre type. Not as good as what I'm used to, but I'm not going to argue because
Their
that
flavors are pretty good, but
bottle was free.
hey, freeze was price.
Um,
So
Xander says he doesn't have any video either. Everybody, reopen up your browser.
Refresh.
he's using the app. It might be an app problem then, guys.
Yeah,
It could. Well, Congo
it's an
seems
app.
to have a problem on the app,
Yeah,
which is sad. I don't know.
I would shut your app down and bring it right back up. And come back in. So today, instead of doing cheers, we're going to do an Excelsior in honor of Stanley. So raise your glasses. Excelsior.
Excelsior!
All right, let's go ahead and get this paint cam over. And we'll let Kathy go ahead and go with a review of Gamehole Con. And then we'll talk about social gaming at a convention.
Yeah, I did social gaming at Gamehole Con, and this convention is Gamehole Con. It was named for the guy who created the convention. His basement was, they just called it the Game Hole. That's where he and his friends all went to play games, and it was just a bunch of fans who decided we want to have a convention here in Madison, Wisconsin. And it started out really small. 2 years ago, my friend Jen and I went on a Saturday. We just got a Saturday badge, and just to wander around and see what was going on. And there was a lot of people doing role-playing games, and there was a lot of people doing board games, and there were a lot of demos of board games and stuff. And they have a dealer's room, and I mean, it's not gigantic. It's not, 6 vendors, but it's, it's a good size.
Small convention.
And there must have been like, I don't know, 600, 800 people, maybe 1,000 there playing games 2 years ago when we went.
Uh-huh.
So I'm describing it to Jim. I'm like, it's this little convention, and they have a paint and take. There's a couple, Paul and Chris, and they run a paint and take there. They run it at a few different conventions, and we met them at Little Wars a couple years ago. And so this year, Jim was hanging out with them at Little Wars, and they said, we're going to be at Gamehole Con, so, if you want, you can come and paint at the paint and take. And so we're like, well, that's cool. So we had some place to put Jim, So he just basically sat down in the paint and take and just painted all weekend, and people came up and asked him questions, and he answered questions, and he gave little spot demos. And, this particular paint and take is all about introducing people to miniature painting. This couple has a crap ton of miniatures, and they've got them all primed and all based on like little cardboard bases. Pretty old school, and but they provide brushes and they provide paints, and I mean, you can bring your own stuff obviously to sit and paint, but they've got flocking and stuff for the bases, and if you don't know what you're doing, they're happy to explain how to use all the stuff from start to finish. And they have an area for, like, if you have an event that you need to go to, they've got like trays where you can leave your stuff there to dry and whatever, and go off and do your thing and come back. And and that was really kind of a draw for us for Gamehole Con. So this year we got there. Jim had never been there before, and we had to park all the way. First of all, this year they switched to a 4-day convention instead of a 3-day convention, and we didn't realize that.
Weird.
So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Next year it will be a 4-day convention again. But it has grown in size in the 2 years since I was there. This is year 6, and they're already talking about like 4,000 turnstile attendees, which is freaking amazing for a 6-year of a convention. We had to park all the way at the very end of the parking lot and walk up to the convention center. It's at the Alliance Center in Madison. And excuse me, Excuse me. I had to burp. Anyways, so we get there and there's like all these people and Jim's like, "What? This is big." I mean, it's not a Gen Con. It's not even an Origins, you know. It's 4,000 turnstile, which is basically, you're counting the same person for each day. But anyways, still a good turnout and tons of role-playing games, tons of board games. They have True Dungeon there. They actually had True Dungeon there 2 years ago when we were there. And that's one of the few conventions that True Dungeon does. I didn't do it this year, but it's an experience. It's worth having. It's kind of an escape room fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons style. You get a team. You could dress up if you wanted to go and cosplay and sort of LARP through it, or not. Either way. But so I actually had registered for an RPG session, and it's the first time that I've actually registered for a specific event at a convention, except for Dave Taylor's How to Paint Metals with metallic paint, because I always painted non-metallic metal. He was very surprised to see me in this class. Anyway, that's not the point. So I had a role-playing game. It was what was it? The cozy hamlet of Flugeldorf is being invaded by an army of orcs. And Flugeldorf is in the world of Chaldea. And Chaldea is the brainchild of Peter Atkinson. And Peter Atkinson is the guy who owns Gen Con. And he's running the game. And it was actually a lot of fun. Everybody, he's got all these different characters that you can choose from that are pre-generated. Everybody's a 0-level villager because you're all in the cozy hamlet of Flugeldorf. And so he's got all these, character things written on little cards, and he's got all these little miniatures, to correspond. And you get to pick 3 characters. So everybody goes around with one character, then everybody goes around with the next character, and then the third character. And, you're just role-playing. And your characters die, and when they die, you can pick another villager to replace them. So you always have 3 characters. But it was like 0-level characters and being attacked by orcs, and it's like, I have a rolling pin to fight with, and, Judith has a mop, and this guy has a bolt of silk, with which to bludgeon people. And here's the butcher, and he has knives. He has 6 of them. You can either stab with them or throw them. And it was ridiculous fun in this universe, and he was weaving a fun tale. Once we realized that the goal of the whole thing was to flee, because you're never going to wipe out an army of orcs with a bunch of villagers. You run away. And so then there were a couple of encounters that we had after we ran away from the orcs. I mean, they were hunting for us. There were a band of robbers that were out to, they thought we would be easy pickings because we were just a bunch of dumb villagers. And we had to make for this one fort. Turns out that was also taken over by orcs. But anyway, so it was fun, and it was the first time I had registered for an event and played in a role-playing game with somebody who I didn't ever play with before. Not the DM and not any of the other people. Well, I take that back. I mean, it's the first one I registered for, but Friday of the convention, right when I got there, I was on my way to the bathroom, and I ran into my friend Jack. And Jack is the guy who sits next to me at my Monday night D&D. He's like the 80-year-old guy who's been playing D&D since before it was invented, pretty much. And he's like my dad away from dad. So he's like, hey, you should come and sit down and join us at this, this game. We can roll you up the character. And I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, and I have to pee. I'll be back.
That's quotable. I don't know what you're doing, and I have to pee.
So So I get back, and it turns out that they are playing, he and his friend Peter are playing in this demo game of some fantasy pseudo D&D game. And I don't even remember the name of the game that was being demoed that they were trying to promote. And as I sat down, because they convinced me it would be fun to sit down and, have a character, again, it was Jack was on the other side of the table with his friend Peter, who I had just met, and a bunch of strangers. And some of them were kids, which I also wasn't really used to gaming with. I don't have kids, and I'm not used to playing with them in any way. So I'm like, okay, I just have to be a little, careful with my language but in this demo, the people running us through this were killing us left and right. I'm like, I walk towards this pool. So what do I see when I look at it? They're like, you need to make a evasion. What was evasion? A reflex save. You need to roll a reflex save. I'm like, wait, what? They're like, yeah, you just hit a trap. Okay. So I miss my reflex save. And they're like, yeah, you take like 15 points of damage. Of course, so these are first level characters that they're running through this map. And I'm like, I have like 3 hit points left, and I only just started. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. I mean, okay, but I didn't say that. But in my head, I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. And they're like killing people left and right. They're like, oh, well, it's okay. Your guy will just start over at the beginning and work their way back through. I'm like, what exactly are you trying to sell here? Are you trying to give people a good experience so that you'll
disappointment.
Buy them? We're selling disappointment. We would like to make children cry. That was my takeaway.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so that was, but the people who were playing were really good sports about it. Even though the kids, they weren't getting upset about dying over and over again. So it was what it was. And like every 20 minutes, they give you dice or, a dice bag or whatever. So like, okay. So I have some 6-siders from that. From that little. So it turns out that Jack and Peter were just killing time doing this demo until the thing that they actually registered for started. And that was a Dork Tower event. It was a RPG that was based in John Kovalick's Dork Tower universe. And so already I know this is going to be fun. It's going to be humorous, if anything, I hope. Because Jack and Peter are just dragging me in there. They're like, yeah, you got to come with us, And I'm like, well, I guess I can heckle you. I don't have any plans. Jim is already set up in the paint and take area painting miniatures. I don't have anywhere to be. So I go in, and Jack's like, yeah, pull up a chair. We'll get you a character. And I'm like, I haven't registered for this event. I don't want to take somebody else's spot, And but then the guy who's running the game gets there and hands me a character, so it actually, first of all, he asks, hey, do we want to pass around, do we want to decide who picks which character? I have all these pre-generated characters, and Jack goes, just pass them out random. We don't care. Everybody here has played long enough. They should know what's going on. And I'm like, yes, this is great, because now I don't have to make a decision. And neither does anyone else, so we can just get started already, right? Okay. So he hands them all out randomly, and I get to be a bard, and I've never played a bard before, but it was really fun. And the whole premise was fun. The people I was playing with, I actually made new friends.
What?
That's sort of the point of a con.
I actually made new friends playing in a game I've never played before with a bunch of people I've never met except for Jack. So, and he was on the opposite side of the table, so it's not even like I was next to him, punching him in the shoulder and heckling him. I had to heckle him from a distance.
From a distance.
Right? And then there were other people who were miniature painters that were playing, and and I got to bother the guy on the end who was. Uh-oh. Wow.
What?
Everybody faded out for a second there. I thought my internet was going.
Oh. No,
You
you're
guys
good.
both became avatars, and then you came back.
We turned blue and tall on an alien planet?
Kind of. Only
Okay.
without the tall. Or the alien planet.
Okay.
So anyways, I played games with strangers. I played 3 different role-playing games with total strangers, except for Jack, in 2 of them. Also, Peter, who is running the Flugeldorf thing, I already knew him. I just had never actually done role-playing games with him before. So it was a lot of fun. I had a really good time. Jim had a really good time at this convention. He said it was the most mellow convention that he's been to out of all of them. And because he just got to sit there and paint, and people could come up and he could talk to them about painting miniatures, and that was that. And we went back to my friend Kathy's house because she lives just outside of Madison, and we stayed there, and she and I are old friends. And so we got to catch up with her and her husband. So all around, it was a really good weekend. I was still amazed at how many people there were there. I expect it to be even bigger next year. And yes, we're going back again next year to Paint and Take. And I'm gonna play more role playing. I might actually sign up for more games with Jack because
Fair enough.
John typing away on his keyboard.
Yep.
I know I was going to say other things about Gamehole Con, but I can't think of them right now.
You can hear John tapping away that microphone of yours.
I feel like I need to. No, I don't. I was going to say I feel like I need to play a bard in our game, but actually, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
It was fun playing a bard, but it's just not for me. I am not the
charismatic,
ad-libbing, right off the top of my head person generally.
In 4th edition, I played a bard, but instead of like songs and stuff, I hurled insults.
I used to know a guy who hurled insults for a living. Seamus the Insulter. He's a brilliant person. I mean, you have to be a brilliant person to come up with all those insults.
So was Gamehole Con mostly role-playing, miniatures, board games? What you got?
It was mostly role-playing and board games. I think there was some card game action going on. Oh, there were miniature games because my friend Dave was running a game from now I can't think of it. Not Mega Traveler, not Gamma World. The one with the rusks and the flying monkey guys with the membranous wings. All the people.
Star Frontiers?
Yes.
Oh man, jeez, that brings back memories.
To remember that, thank you for being you.
Remember it, it's on my shelf over there.
Oh my god.
No.
It was my second role-playing game ever. We went into the Toys R Us and we're like, let's pick a role-playing game. You want Star Frontiers or you want Gamma Riders? I'm like, Star Frontiers, sci-fi, let's go.
When I was like 12, yes, that was like the second one after D&D that I played. And so Dave was doing the spaceship battle game. So, and I didn't even know there was a spaceship battle game based on it. I was all excited, but I couldn't participate because my own thing that I had registered for started before his thing ended. But I did stand around and watch and wish that I could participate in this. It almost had a feel of like a ship of the line kind of thing. the way the firing arcs were, and the way the size of the ships mattered, and you had to turn your side to shoot the, and it was just really cool, and I didn't know it was anything that existed in the Star Frontiers universe. So,
Man,
and so,
Star
and
Trek books are expensive.
all the people who participated were like, you're waxing nostalgic like us, because way back in the day, they also, you know, had their good experiences with the role-playing game and stuff. So it was a lot of fun to talk to people about that. And then way in the corner of and this was the miniatures room. So they did have tabletop wargaming, but not a lot. It was like one room. So he had his event running that morning, and way in the back, these people had set up this pirate game, and I didn't get a chance to play that at all either. But they had some amazing, amazing terrain. I actually took a whole bunch of pictures. I meant to get Tiny Kathy over there and take pictures with her in it, but time ran out and I had to go to my thing. They did take pictures, and it was just, and they handmade all of the terrain for that. They did a really good job. By the end of the day, when I came back, all their stuff was gone. They were all already gone. And then somebody was running Panzer something. Not Panzerfaust. Jagdpanzer.
I know the game you're talking about. The sort of miniatures board gamey, weird World War II.
No, I don't think so. It was more like Flames of War, only different.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I don't think there was any weird war anything. Jagdpanzer is just like a bunch of Panzer tanks and against Americans. They said it's like Flames of War, but better. So I don't know, but that's what Jack was playing that morning. Because so I ran into him in that room, but there was not a lot going on in the miniatures area. But if somebody wanted to run a miniatures-based event, like a demo game or something there, or a little campaign kind of game, there's room. And so yeah, I had forgotten that there was computer games there too.
Cool. Sounds like a good time.
Sounds like somebody needs to learn how to run a demo game, though, because that, to me, if I would have been at that demo, I'd have probably been upset.
I'd have played a little bit and been like, all right, I got better things to do with my life.
Yep. Which, going on that subject, because the one year I went to Gen Con, we went through, and what we did is we were like, you know what, we're just going to play and do games of things I would like to see if I want to buy. And I had somebody else who said they wanted to play. The guy I went with was like, I want to go and play this one because I've never played this game system before, and you have. And I want you to tell me if it's any good or not, and then if the person's playing it right. And he was looking more at mechanics. And that was, we were doing World of Darkness. He'd never played in a World of Darkness, but wanted to try it out. No big deal.
Working my mouth a little bit.
Sorry. My dogs are crazy because my other half is home. She found out that 2 of her tires are bad.
Oh. That is what we commonly call
no bueno.
Correct. John, so while they're barking, why don't you go tell me about something that you did at a convention, and we'll worry about the dogs in a minute.
Oh, well, see, it's been a long time since I've been at a convention that wasn't like War Machine Weekend. Well, I talk about War Machine Weekend. I walk into War Machine Weekend, just got to the hotel room, get everything down, say hi to Chili as he comes in while he's still sober. And then, wander around. I see Nathan Hoffman. I know what he looks like because, on the internet, he didn't really know who I was, but he's like, oh, hey, how you doing? We're about to play this crazy board game. Come sit down and play crazy board game with us. Hands me a beer, and I'm like, well, sure, let's play this crazy board game. So that was Dark Moon. I knew no one playing it. He just sat there and made sure we had the rules, and it was a great time. Playing random game you know nothing about with random people you don't know.
And all the rest of the people didn't know anything about the game either?
Nope, no one knew how that game went. So it was just
the best.
It was super fun. It's basically Dark Moon used to be called BSG Express because it's sort of like Battlestar Galactica, just Apparently, it plays in less than your entire lifetime.
Huh.
Unlike Battlestar Galactica, from what I hear. So it was good. It was fun. Prior to that, conventions I've gone and, back when BattleTech was a bigger thing, the guys would have the big arena and you'd come pay some money and you get to play that for a little while with your mech and wander around, fight each other. That's a good social thing because you get chatting with people who are nearby you and all.
Yeah, I think they actually had a few BattleTech events at Gamehole Con because Kathy's husband is really into BattleTech, and the only reason he comes to convention is really to get in on some of those BattleTech games. That's why he was at Adepticon this year. Anyway,
Fair enough.
sorry.
Prior to that, now, that was, I don't remember which con that was. Back when they used to hold gaming conventions in the Baltimore Convention Center, which hasn't happened in a long time, since I graduated from high school, basically. Maybe shortly after I graduated from high school. But, I've gone there and played lots of role-playing games. We used to have AtlantaCon, which was every year at the Baltimore Convention Center, but eventually went out. But, you just go around, you find events, you play with random people and have a good time. It's really crazy sort of to see. I was at a Palladium Fantasy role-playing game back when that was one of the games I played. I played in a thing of that. We had a great time. It was an adventure made for like 6 to 8 people. There were 4 of us because it was an early session. Which is why they're always happy when people like you just show up randomly, Kathy, because early sessions tend to have not a lot of people. But we go through it. We have a great time. We do well. Chat with those people. You usually see them going around the con later. And if you're alone, that gives you a touchstone. People you've now connected with. You're like, hey, how's it going? What are you doing? It's really good because the role-playing game is a great icebreaker for that. And more fun, if you ever get to do this, Kathy, is I was back in the same room for a Shadowrun event later, and they were running it in the other half of the room, like they had it split in half. So we're between doing stuff, and I'm sort of chilling, waiting for the GM to get done with the decker so we can do stuff. And I'm chatting with the guy running the game, because he's running a whole new group for the same thing. That was super fun too, just seeing how they did it differently. Like I could see that be worth streaming. Honestly, streaming your cons. Like, all right, this you see, like, oh, this is how this crew did it. This is how this crew did the same adventure. You sort of see all the difference. But I mean, it's great. I can't say enough for the non-tournament style games at a con. It's just super duper fun. Like I said, if you're at a con alone, especially, you want to get some of those early, because again, you get some people. I mean, you get some acquaintances real quick, and you've got a touchstone. You got people you can chat with when you see them in the hallway or whatever. It's a great, like I said, it's a great icebreaker, a great way to start in there socially, which some people may have a problem with, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, gamers, we're not all the most. I mean, despite the fact our game is actually very, very social because we're all in-person gamers, but we're not all the best at social situations. Breaking the ice. It's not easy for anyone. Let's get this out of the way. Except for the most random of people, it's not easy to break the ice, and this is a great icebreaker.
If I didn't know Peter, the guy who was running the Flugeldorf thing, I wouldn't have registered for that. And if Jack hadn't have goaded me into those 2 other games, I would not have sat down and played those games.
Well, so related, I was on Twitter, and someone I randomly follow who's in the UK. I don't know. I just randomly follow her because, one of the guys, I guess, from a podcast recommended her, whatever. She's like, hey, should I pay this money and go to this cool party that's going to be potentially nerve-wracking but super fun? I'm like, yes. Life is too short to not have adventures. Go have adventures. Part of that's going to a con and just playing random games. Go to a game you don't know anyone running it. Just that game looks fun. I'm going to try that game. Just do it.
And it's hard. If you're the kind of person who shies away from that initial ice breaking. I mean, once I sat down at the tables, I could talk to people. We had the game in common. You
have the game in common. At the end of the day, also, like, a lot of people are just as nervous as you because, with the exception of some really old people because they have some experience at it and some really outgoing people, no one's great at it. Don't let that stop you. You can't let that stop you from having a good time and going out and having adventures.
Because I didn't even realize how fun that it would be. Honestly, I had no expectation. I didn't know what to expect.
And that's better, because if you have no expectations, you go in, you're not going like it's going to be this, going to be that. You're like, I'm going to go play some sort of role-playing game. That's all I expect. You're going to have a good time. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean I think that's why I enjoyed it. Even that first one where we kept dying and I was like, wow, you people are really bad at running a demo game. I still had fun with the other people who were playing the game with me.
Exactly. I remember more about random con role-playing games than I do about a lot of other things. Moments, a lot of moments from those stick out than from other games I've played with friends. And I hate to say that, but sometimes you're being comfortable just means you're sitting back, you're sort of on autopilot. Like, yeah, sure, it's fun, but you're on autopilot. This is challenging yourself on a social level. And challenging yourself on all levels is important, or you become stagnant. When you become stagnant, you're not doing any good for yourself. You got to get out there, try it. That's the place to do it. Just a con, just find a game. If it's a game you're familiar with, even better, because then you don't have a new system to sort of add an extra level of uncomfortableness to you. You're like, I know how this game plays. I'm familiar with this game. Let's go.
Well, it's okay, because one of the things that I did when we went to Gen Con is, like I said, we tried different games that we wanted to see the system and play. And, like, I like the Savage World system. I think it's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of good things going for it. But a friend of mine had never played it, so he says, let's go do it. So we're playing it, and we're having a good time. And then one of the things that I dread the most is someone that's going to monopolize the whole time. And they're like... And it was getting annoying. This guy was like, I just have to do, and I have to be the center of attention of this role-playing group. And I'm like, dude, we're all here to play a game. You just got to step aside and let everybody do it. And the thing is it's hard to do that with people that you don't know without going, quit being a dick.
Well, it's also hard because if you guys remember, I was at John Con and we had the role-playing event that night, and Congo was there. I was relatively quiet because, as a veteran, I saw that there were a lot of people who were vying for the spotlight, so to speak. Yeah. I guys who were really in it. So sometimes you just back off and let them do that.
Yeah.
You might still have fun. Like, I still had a great time there because those guys were crazy and hilarious. You just do what you can. You just make your moments, make the most of your moments. It's honestly a little like a microcosm of life. Make the most of your moments when you get them, but don't necessarily strive for the spotlight. Someone else is having a good time taking the spotlight. Let them go. If you get a break between, maybe tell them, like, hey, guy, back off a little bit. We all try and play here, but...
Yeah, well, this person was... There was 2 game sessions that I played, and that were a negative play experience. And it was because, one person wanted to be the spotlight, and so we didn't even get to finish the adventure, because it was supposed to be run as a, one-time thing. Mm-hmm. And which is cool, because I was like, I want to see this setting of Savage Worlds, and I want to see it. And it wasn't run by, I see Legionnaire says he's a Savage World writer. It wasn't run by a convention. It wasn't done by a Savage World person. It was just, someone wanted to run the adventure.
Yeah, they wanted to run it, and they wanted to run Savage Worlds because it's a good generic system.
Yeah, good generic system. And this one person just kept on taking up so much time and wanted to be the center of attention. We're like, dude, you got to let it go for a little bit because we got to get through this. And you don't have to be everything. You don't have to make a comment about everything. You don't have to have a role for everything. Just do it. And eventually that person kind of got under control because the GM was finally like, well, I gotta see what this person's going to do now. Which was good. And then...
somebody like that, the best way to diffuse it is just to start going around the table. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
And then the other one was the GM was not a good GM. And it was because we were playing the Lone Wolf system because I wanted to see what it was like. And we're playing it, and we're all in town, or we're all camping and stuff. And a friend of mine is on guard, and something happens, so he goes to wake up everybody. So he goes to wake up everybody. And the GM's like, well, you need to roll to wake them up.
Like, really?
We're like,
really?
what?
Like I need to roll to wake my husband up in the morning.
Yeah, and it was I was like, we were like, what? He's like, yeah. Well, he didn't make the roll to wake up one person, and so she went on this elaborate detail of what his dream was, and we're like, the fuck does this have to do with anything? Move it along. I mean, it was like, it was just so bad. It turned me off of that system so much. I was so mad at that. But then right after that, we went to go play in the Valiant game, which, if anybody knows, Valiant's a superhero type game for the Valiant universe. But the game system is so stupid fun, and it was run by one of the developers. So I was looking forward to it, and he made it completely fun. He was like, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, go ahead, you can do that. Well, yeah, you can do that, but... And I was like, that was good. But Valiant relies itself on letting you do weird shit. In the Valiant game system, if you want to open up a portal and have Obama double-wielding monkeys holding Uzis and having come in and kill people, you can, because the system allows it. It's got this weird portal system in it that's just hilariously cool.
I want to dual-wield monkeys.
I don't care what the monkey's armed with. I'm with Kathy. Dual-wielding monkey sounds like a thing.
Yeah.
So that's actually a common GM thing. They say, don't say no, just assign a difficulty.
Yeah.
So I played a Shadowrun game with a guy who didn't know the rules very well, and I just rolled with it. He's like, it works like this, and I'm thinking, it doesn't work like that. But fuck it, I don't care.
Right?
He's running the game, whatever. I'm like, sure, dude. I've got recoil compensation. That helps. Like, oh yeah, that drops it to this. I'm like, I just tell him what I got on my character sheet, and he just tells me. I'm like, that's good, dude. that was one where basically you got voted to the next round or not. The party all voted for two players they thought who did really well, and the two players who had the most votes went. So I went to the second round because they told me after, like, we just thought it was great the way you just let him roll with not knowing the rules, and you made it fun for all of us by making it not a thing. Because they could see, like, oh god, this guy knows the rules and this is going to get unfortunate. We're like, nah, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's a difference between...
That's so much more fun than being like, oh, no, that's not how you do it. Let me just spend 15 minutes leafing through the rule book to show you why you're wrong.
Oh no, I spent the 20 minutes afterwards teaching him stuff after the game.
Exactly.
I'm like, all right, here's how the rules really work. I went through it all. He explained. He's like, oh, that's so much different. I'm like, it's all good, man. We had a great time. That's what matters, right?
That's the key thing.
Why we're all there.
And that's the mindset. You got to have an open mind going into it. There's a lot of fun to be had if you let yourself.
But you also got to be conscious of who you're playing with. Because there was one we went, and a friend of mine hadn't played, was it 5th Age or whatever the D&D world they had. It didn't go off very well. I have the books. I can't remember what it was. But it was one of the new core D&D type thing. And do what? No. It was called like 5th Age, I think is what it was, or something like that.
It did so poorly, I ain't even heard of it.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't even know. I mean, I know the 4th edition, a lot of people didn't care for it, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
But I mean, we're sitting there, and he had already pre-made characters up, which is cool. I'm all for that. I don't care give me whatever. I'll play whatever. But this one guy was like, yes, my character, he's in love with this woman. This woman's not even part of our story. And it's about how the way he acts is how he's in love with her. Like he's in love with so-and-so from some 1940s movie that nobody knew what he was talking about. And the GM was wanting him to integrate that into the story of us going through a dungeon. And I'm like, I don't think you're in the right setting for this.
I don't think you know what's going on here, man. Yeah. We're kicking down doors and stabbing monsters and taking their shit.
Yeah. And it was just weird because he was like, but my love for this woman determines everything that I do, and I need her to tell me. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna skip over. We didn't get anything done with that because he monopolized the time, and I was just so. But I didn't care for the system anyway, so it was. it was okay.
Wow. So I'm going to say Gonzo had all the bad experiences at cons because I haven't really had anything I would call a bad experience.
It's not that I had bad experience. We did the World of Darkness went really well. We got far. We did things, etc., etc. It's just you've got to know who you're playing with, and if one guy wants to monopolize it, you've got to do something.
So the best thing actually is to, and this is gonna sound weird, is help it whenever things happen. Do it so that him and somebody else are in it.
Correct.
That would make him more happy than anything else. It's like, oh, we're gonna go search. I take someone with me to go search for this. Then he's happy. He's involved in everything. He'll actually stop hogging the spotlight all the time because he's always there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the GM can be like, oh, the little, make little extra things for him, because that's actually more of a GM thing.
Yeah.
And maybe you gotta be the same way. And it's hard in a one-off game because you're like, I got limited time. Sometimes you're like, fuck it, let's just get through this and go on to the next one. I haven't had that experience, but it is what it is. You do have to kind of know the players you're with, but honestly, that's be more the GM, and you're going to have that occasionally because there are no qualifications to be a GM.
Nope.
Your qualifications are you wish to try to be a GM.
Our GM, that Dark Tower game was good. He was good. He made it fun for everybody. Everybody had a good time, and I came away with friends. So that's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, like I said, but there was some really good type of stuff going on. Like I said, the Valiant game run by the guy was amazing. I pulled off some stuff that he was like, really? You want to do that? I'm like, yeah, it's going to save the party. It's going to do this. I'm going to pull the fate point out, use it, give it to you. And he's like, all right, that's cool. Your character's gone now. I'm like, okay, no problem. And it was like,
have to be made.
Yeah, but I mean, he was like, I've never seen anybody try to do that. And I says, well, my character shows that they would do something like this, so I'm going to go with it. What was the other one?
It's a more pure form of role-playing because you're no longer worried about, oh, I don't want to have to go through the rigmarole or hassle of making a new character, so maybe I'm a little more safe than my character would have been. You're like, what my character do? He would do that, so I do that.
Yeah. Because there was a couple of other things. What was it? There was, what other ones did I do? The like I said, the World of Darkness was a good one. We just did a whole bunch of them, and most of them, for the most part, were good. There was just, like two of them that were just like, two of them were player issues and one was a GM issue. And a good GM will manipulate that player to get where they need to go and do things.
Yeah.
So it was overall, it was still a good experience because I got to try a bunch of different systems out, which is what I really wanted to do. But I highly recommend it that if you're going to be, especially if you're going to go to Gen Con, don't go do stuff that you normally do. Go try out different games. I know at Gen Con one year they had like a couple of 100-person werewolf game going.
That sounds terrible.
The sit down. Hold on. It's the werewolf game where you sit down in groups and you find out who the werewolf is.
Everybody closes their eyes.
Yes.
The werewolf in their eyes, and Kathy fails.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is you got to know your games. So you look at that. I'm like, that's not for me.
Correct.
Yep.
So I don't go and try and force myself into that. I will go on what Gonzo says. Not only do you want to try different things, you want to not schedule your time so tight that you cannot try other things.
Correct.
Leave yourself some time to just walk around the dealer hall and try some demos.
Or leave yourself some time where if you do run into somebody and you will at some point, probably.
I always do.
So you can go out and have drinks or something.
The BattleTech at like Origins when it was still moved around, when it was in Baltimore Convention Center, the guy who sat next to me in 7th or 8th grade in algebra class was there.
That's hilarious.
My friend Tony from high school was at Gamehole Con, and my friend Dave was the one who was running the Star Frontiers thing. Mm-hmm. And Tony's the one who showed up for that one. I was like, oh my god, my friend Dave is running it, and my friend Tony...
Why didn't you play Star Frontiers? It's a totally great system.
Tony Buddy and I used to play Star Frontiers in high school.
I mean, back in the day, it was a game that was sci-fi. It was the game that was sci-fi.
Well,
Not that Traveler.
Yeah, but I hated dying in character creation.
I don't
Let's just
know.
say that was not good. Not good.
yeah,
Right.
going back to the thing of making sure that you save time to do things, 100%, because there are conventions where you need to have some time where you walk around and like, ooh, test this game out. Ooh, test this game out.
And if it's a normal con, a variety con, let's call them, where there's a bunch of different games there, don't schedule yourself for only competitive events because
You will get burnt out with that shit.
Yes.
you need to spread it around. You need to have some fun casual events in there. I know you think I'm the hardcore guy. I don't need the casual.
Yes, you do.
You need the chill break.
You know what, and I'll return to Adepticon for a second here, because I do want to see if there are some events, now that I've had a taste of playing in events with strangers and enjoying it. I feel like I need to see what there is at Adepticon, because I know there's some things, like my friend Matthias was running Shadows of Brimstone a couple different times, and it sold out both times, so I never was able to do it. It's a game that I've been wanting to try out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's going to be doing it this year. And somebody was running some Cthulhu RPG or something last year. So I just need to take a look at what's being offered now that everything's live, and see if there's something that interests me that I would like to jump into during the course of the weekend.
100%. Try out new things. I mean, try out a new game system. Try out a new anything. Because there's so many games out there that just, you've got to. I don't care what anybody says. There's way too much out there to not try. Especially when you go to convention. You paid a pretty penny for that. Go test it out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Don't just be like me and sit in the bar, and then when you're leaving the bar, run into more people that you know who are going to the bar and join them and hang out with them, and then when everybody's leaving, you run into somebody else who's going into the bar, and then you hang out with them all weekend.
I mean, you can do that, but at that point, you really don't need to get the ticket to the con.
That was really fun. That was a very fun year, the year that I did that.
Yeah, it's fun, and honestly, maybe if that happens, think about it. Maybe that's what you want to do. You can look at each event when it comes up. You know, is that what you want to do? You know, is that what you're having fun with? Just do it.
It was not what was planned.
Yeah.
And that's probably what actually made it more fun. It was totally spontaneous, and it just kept happening.
Sometimes you got to be spontaneous. You got to stop and go, I want to try that game. Fuck it, I'm going to try that game. Do it.
That was the year that I brought my zombie side with me, just in case a game broke out. And both Friday and Saturday night, we had a game break out by the Hobby Lounge. They used to have a little table there with some comfy chairs.
Mm-hmm.
I say used to because now they take that out of there when we up. But they had it there then, and so it was a perfect size table to set up my zombie side board. And I was just like, hey, does anybody want to play? I mean, like, there need to be 6 of us tops. And I got, and that was another time where, like, some of them were my friends, but there were a few people that I had no idea who they were, who were like, yeah, I like that game, let me play. I'm like, all right. And oh my God, it was so much fun. And that was just me bringing a game, saying, hey, does anybody want to play this random game?
Bring those easy games. I have a bunch of small games. I've got like Timeline and Nuts or Pooh. I forget which one. One of those simple games. Maybe Kittens in a Blender. Like I have a bag that I keep, a little shoulder, satchel. That I'll put little games in and be like, these are like, let's just play a game. Let's break out, get some people.
Games are so much fun for a late night.
Or like whenever, like a King of Tokyo is the perfect game. Just randomly, let's play. Not Yahtzee. That's kind of Yahtzee. Let's just get it going. I mean, when we were at the original ATC in Tennessee, with Chuck, Bulldog, and Neutralize and Keith Richardson, after the tournament, we're sitting at the hotel. They got nowhere to go. Everyone else is local. They're fucking gone. So we're sitting in a hotel down in their little lounge playing freaking King of Tokyo together.
That's awesome.
That's how you do it. Just you gotta leave yourself time to be spontaneous. I mean,
Time
this
to
sounds
hang. Time
preachy.
to chill.
You gotta be able to live your life. You can't always schedule everything and be like this thing and then this thing and then this thing. You let some life happen to you.
Unless you just really like to, you know.
If you really like to do that one thing at a con that is only for that one thing. Like, yes, if you only want to play War Machine at a con, go to War Machine Weekend. You know, if you only want to do, 40K, find a 40K only con. But if
On
you go
the
to a
other
con
hand,
that has multiple things, try multiple things.
on the other hand, you could go to something like Adepticon or some of the other tabletop game conventions where you could spend your entire weekend playing 40K.
Oh yeah.
You can play the 40K champions. You can play the 40K team tournament. You can play the 40K friendly tournament. You know, you can play that. You can play Combat Patrol. You can play all 40K.
There is no such thing as a 40K friendly tournament.
I know,
Saying.
because
Just
my
saying.
friend tried that friendly 40K tournament at Adepticon, and it was a ruffle stomp tournament, is what it was.
Nonsense. It's way more friendly than the championship.
Oh, well.
Or the champions. Whatever that is.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, yeah. But anyways, yeah, but don't do it. I mean, you could do that. Don't. You're at a con with multiple games. Try something out.
Yeah.
You've got to. Even if it's just going through and trying, like, hey, do you have a demo of this game? Let me try this game. Maybe some random guy can lead you through a demo of some game that they love. Maybe some random guy comes up and wants to get a demo of the game you love. Bring it up to demo with.
Oh.
Even if it's just like, here's two 500-point 40K armies that are really simple infantries I could pack in with me. Try that stuff. People are going to be interested, and not every game has champions there to do it for you. So fucking be the champion.
Oh, definitely. When I went to
You'll make them
Adepticon,
stay.
when I went to Adepticon, that's all I did. I spent half of a day just going through demos. Show me what your game is. All right, this is cool. Oh, what was funny is I went to one, and they were Judgment. And I sat down, he started explaining, goes, is this like a MOBA? He goes, very much like a MOBA. You know MOBAs? Goes, yes, I don't like MOBAs. And it has nothing to do with you. You have some of the incredible miniatures. I think these are awesome, but I'm really not into this. Thanks a lot. And then I saw him later. He went to go eat with us, and he was like, why didn't you want to do the game? I says, well, I don't like that style of play. And it has nothing to do with it. It's just I don't like that style of play. And he's like, okay. Yeah, you weren't a jerk about it. I was just kind of curious. And I was like, yeah, it's just not my thing.
Yeah, you don't have to be a jerk. You just know what your thing is.
Yeah.
So you gotta, as a wise man once said, a man's got to know his limitations.
Well, I think my Terracon is pretty much done. I'm going to leave him like this and not worry about him.
Okay.
So, boom.
Flock
Terracon,
that face.
done.
He did flock it.
It is.
Well, you're not gonna flock it. He put some static grass on it.
Yeah.
I think-
done.
It may be the way the color saturation from the camera, but I really wish the static grass and the base had a different, more contrast.
There is a lot of brown underneath it. You just got to be careful looking at it.
Yeah,
Lighting.
Yeah, I think
it's
it's
the
lighting.
lighting. It's
Good.
the lighting.
boom.
Done.
Done. I don't have to worry about it. I can put them on the board, and I can throw other models around.
Oh, don't throw them around. You'll break them.
No, Terracon throws models,
He means metaphorically speaking.
especially into other buildings. So, with that said, what time is it? Hey.
Time to play Rampage?
Time to play Rampage! Roar. Okay, hold on.
Where you throw other people's stuff around?
No.
The wing place I got dinner had video games sitting in their front on free play, and one of them I think had Rampage on it. It's like 10 pages of 6 games each. It had like a shit ton of games. It was kind of cool. I mean, I just got my wings and left, but
Alright, let's jump over to the media section. Da-da-da-da-da-da, media section.
Woo!
Alright, I have... Holy crap.
43
things.
things because you're not working right
Oh,
now.
it's a good thing you have 43 things, because I have, I read a comic book this week.
Oh shit!
Damn.
Hit us.
So I read X-Men comics from 1984.
Sweet.
That's pretty old. I'm trying to think of what that could be as far as
In the Savage Lands.
Oh, Savage Lands. Okay.
So it starts out with Peter Parker and the Angel going to the Savage Lands, and so this woman can find her long lost bow. And long story short, bad guys, ambush them. The girl gets shoved over a cliff. She gets rescued by Kazar.
Because Savage Lands, you gotta have Kazar in there.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. And someone is saved at the end, and it's happy-ish.
Does Zabu get to whoop someone's ass?
Hell yes.
Damn right.
So yeah, that was. My friend was cleaning things out, books and stuff. So I got a pile of his old book.
I'll be honest. There's a couple of those monthly boxes, and one of them's like just here's random comic books. I'm like, I'm tempted because there's nothing like reading random comic books.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what this was. I mean, I had vague recollections of Kazar. I remember enjoying it when I was a teenager or early teens, whenever that was, when my brother used to go shopping at flea markets for comic books. And they were already old by the time, they get to the flea market.
Oh, yeah, I would go to, there was a store in Bowie where I grew up called the Magic Page. And they had boxes. It was exactly what you expect, used books everywhere, that kind of sort of organized clutter, long boxes of old comics. I bought so many old comics, and then they opened up another comic store in the Free State Mall, which is on the other side, basically. And I'd go in there, like all the Marvel team-ups, be like, I'm buying Marvel team-ups, because they're cheap, and it's super cool. It's Spider-Man and some other guy teaming up to take out some random villain. Those were the days. Just good stuff. I mean, it's kind of appropriate we talk about that, all things considered.
Ah, yes. The foreword to this one was written by Stan Lee. Yeah, it was kind of a Stan Lee week, and it really was appropriate that I was reading comic books this week. And X-Men, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Excellent. So, Gonzo, you have 3 things, and I have 2 movies, neither of which from this century. As a matter of fact, only one of them was put out after I graduated high school, and only that one by 6 months. And they're both in the theater.
Well, I finished and finally got done with all of Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And I know we kind of talked about it last week, but I got through the entire season. Season 2 is already filming, and has already been greenlit, so we know we're getting to season 2, which is good. I was about halfway through it.
Asterisk, lawsuit pending, could change things. Probably not if there's filming already.
Yeah. I don't think they're worried about it. Because I saw what they were trying to do, and yeah, it's redundant.
It's one of those things. I cover something similar, on minis and movies.
Yeah.
This last time, so just it's good to keep an eye on it. Be aware. Do some research on it. Just make sure.
Yeah. So I finished up about halfway through, and then I finished it up the rest of it today. It starts off kind of cutesy, like a CW type show. Who cares? I mean, it is pagan, and they do talk about Satan and so on and so forth, but you just use it as a background, just everything else. And so you're just like, okay, yada, yada, yada. I'm happy, and holy fuck, it gets dark. It gets dark quick. About halfway through, it starts going, yeah, this ain't your typical Sabrina. I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to spoil it because someone has not finished. Erica hasn't finished it, so she's listening, so I promise not to spoil it.
It's only been out for a short time. You can't spoil it. I'm going to have more on that in a moment.
Yeah. And it took a dark turn. It hit on some really, really hardcore subjects. A lot of adult type things happened. And you know what? I was fucking happy with it. I enjoyed every minute of the series. Everything was unusual. Everything was different. It was a new twist. Everything was good. If you like, dark shows that, at first don't take them serious, but then getting a little bit more serious and a little bit more destructive, go for it. Highly recommend it. I'm going to go with Zero Space Herpes. I hope season 2 is just as good. But it was really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Highly recommend it.
So I'll go in the order I watched them. Monday night in the theater as a Fathom event, myself and my buddy the Jason saw one of the best Batman movies, and that is Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Uh-huh.
This is not a spoiler to anyone who was listening last week, because Jackie was interested in seeing it also, and I believe she did, based on what Facebook says.
Yep.
And a couple cool things, it was not a very full theater, because, apparently not enough people are interested in seeing an animated Batman. It had a weird computer-generated animation short of the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, which was very odd to have in front of it, but it's a very short movie. Because honestly, with that, we were out. It starts at 7. We were out of there by 8:15 or so. So it's a very short movie. Even though it was theatrically released originally. And I should point out, this came out right after I was out of high school, about 6 months, December after I graduated. And I saw it in the theater then. I owned it on VHS. That VHS copy came with the comic book, a little digest comic book version, which I still own. And I own it on DVD also. So I'm a fan of this movie. Unlike most Batman movies, Batman actually gets to have character development. I know. What? And that's sort of my problem with the Batman movies, to take a little rant on this, is, yeah, sure, The Dark Knight's a great movie. Batman doesn't have a lot of... It's not a Batman. Batman's there, but it's not as much his story as it is the Two-Face and Joker in that one. So I get a little annoyed. Yeah, the villains. I get a little annoyed when it's not as much Batman getting his own... he's the hero. He needs to have his own arc.
I haven't seen the Batman movies. Are they kind of glorifying the villains or romanticizing the villains?
Not at all. And to be fair, the Nolan trilogy of Batman are very good movies. The Dark Knight is a very well-crafted movie. I don't really have much urge to see it again, because it's dark and a little too much, Joker and centric in that one. A little strange. It's a very well-crafted movie. It's very good. I don't like as much as something like Batman Begins, which I think is another one of the best Batman movies. But enjoyed the heck out of this. The animation doesn't... it's Batman the Animated Series animation, a little better than that. But on the big screen, it wasn't reworked for the big screen, so it doesn't hold up as well as you'd like. And the story, again, is a little short, but it's complete. It's pretty good. I enjoyed the crap out of it. Had a good time. I'm not going to go see it in the theater again anytime soon. Maybe in another 15 years they do their anniversary type thing, maybe. It was like a 25-year anniversary, because I'm old. Maybe 40th anniversary might try it again. But it was a good time. I give it I'll give it on the big screen. I'm going to give it 1 full Space Herpes. I would give it less on your TV, because the animation holds up better on the smaller screen than it does on the big screen. But definitely worth it. A great Batman movie with a good story. Even though it's old, I won't spoil it. But let's just say it has all the standard Batman stuff. Enjoyable. It has, Mark Hamill in it as the Joker, because he is the Joker.
Yeah.
Yep.
No offense to anyone else who played the Joker, living or dead. Mark Hamill is the Joker. I'm sorry.
Yeah, his voice for that is just amazing.
Amazing. But yeah, very enjoyable. And yes, Banian, I'm sorry for locking you out Monday night.
Oh, no.
I came home, apparently I was on autopilot. I thought he was home. I locked the chain, which I never do, and he was out.
Oh, no.
Yeah. My bad. I'm sorry. Love you, bro. All right, Gonzo, go ahead.
I had, as you know, I work in my job is I deal with kids that have behavior issues. And my therapist that also worked there were looking for movies that will relate to the high school kids, things about bullying, emotional stuff, and everything. And so I gave them "I Kill Giants," and so I rewatched it recently. If you haven't watched it, you haven't read the graphic novel, go do it. Do both because the graphic novel, while it goes in more detail and has more cool things in it, the movie's just as good, but it is a very sad movie. And, it's interesting because some of my kids are the hardcore, badass, I'll shoot you in your face, type thing. The high school ones, because I try to get to know all the kids in our school, because in case anything ever happens, I can try to work with anybody. I've never seen so many kids that are hardcore cry at the end of a movie in my entire life. So it was very humbling to see them do this. So I rewatched it again, knowing exactly what the movie was and how it ended and everything else, and it was still good to me. The story's just really good. It hits really good with me as a teacher. It hits really good for me as I can relate to that kid because things, shitty like that happened to me when I was a kid, which is interesting because I look back on it and goes, we haven't changed. Kids are still doing the same crap that they've done when I was a kid. The coping, the bullying, all this other stuff. Still held up. Hadn't been any big changes in it, so I give it like 1 space harpies because it kind of, if it's not your thing, you're not going to get it, but definitely it's very interesting watch when it comes free on like Netflix or whatever. Go watch it, enjoy it, look at it from the eyes of that kid and not from the eyes of someone else, and you'll have a much better time watching it. So that was just an interesting rewatch for me to see other kids watching it. If you don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Other than that, I only have one other thing, and it's a bad rant, but I have to rant about it.
Let's let you rant before I go into my other one, so we can end a little more up.
Okay.
But before you do, I'll talk a little bit. I watched a little bit of a Netflix series, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's Western. It just came out. I think it's from the Coen brothers.
I heard about that. The Ballad or something or other.
Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yeah.
So it's 2 hours and change long, but it is like 6 different little vignettes.
Okay.
And while waiting for people to show up, we watched the first 2, and they were amusing as shit. I heard the third one's a little boring, so we didn't watch that. Also, Spencer was arriving for the game. But I definitely think you should give it a shot for at least the beginning portions of it, because it was amusing for the first half an hour or so, 45 minutes. It was amusing. So you definitely check it out. I'm going to try and check out the rest of it here soon. But the first 2 parts, definitely thumbs up. Worth taking a flyer and seeing the whole thing. All right. Let me steal myself, Gonzo. All right, hit us.
Okay. So I didn't do this back when Halloween was here, and we really didn't get to do it. So I saved it for here, because anytime we have a small party or something or in there at school, I try to show a movie just because it helps me get the kids calm, lets them do stuff, and we get to have cake and candy and all that stuff because it was Halloween. So I tried desperately to find something on Netflix, because I can pull up Netflix on my Chromebook that they let us have, and our network lets us show it. And it's really hard to find anything wholesome or whatever for Halloween to show for these kids. And so I went with the best thing that I had, and the kids loved the shit out of it. They thought it was hilarious and funny and great, and should have won every Academy Award and everything that goes with it. And I just cringed just watching it. I'm trying not to pay attention to it. I'm trying to do other things within my classroom to get ready for the end of the day and get stuff done. But I'm just walking around cringing and about to throw up. And they forced me to put on Spooky Buddies. If anybody knows, The Buddies movies are about a group of golden retrievers, and they go around doing and solving adventures.
John's ears perked up, much like a golden retriever.
What?
A golden retriever puppies, and
What the
each one of them
actual
has
fuck?
their own individual personality. Like there's one of them that's like a rapper dog, and one that's a preppy dog, and all this
Yo,
other stuff.
dog.
Yeah, and so I'm sitting there, and this is a G-rated movie, so it's perfectly good for me to show. But there's like so many buddies movies. There's super buddies. There's snow buddies. There's treasure buddies. It's like the Land Before Time genre hit these, and they make buddy movies for everything out there. And I mean, this movie was annoying as hell.
And meanwhile, John's over here like, where have these movies been my whole life?
No, this does not sound good. I'm reading the plot.
Yeah, and it's really, 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 really bad.
Let
Of
me
course.
sum the plot in 3 words or 3 letters. WTF.
Yeah. And I mean, the funny thing is they actually have like one of the actors in it. I can't remember. He did a space movie which I thought was hilarious. Oh God, I'm going to look it up on IMDb.
B dog? Who? Okay.
Oh yeah,
What?
yeah.
That's one of the dogs, right?
That's one of the dogs. Yeah, that's one of the dogs. B dog. Yeah, everybody has all these names, and all of them have all these weird type of things that go with them. Harland Williams. He plays Warwick, which is the warlock. And he cracks me up. Like, he did one movie that I thought was really weird, which is Rocket Man, which was just stupid, funny movie. But, I mean, these shows are so bad. I mean, one, they get all these dogs, and they make them stand there and look like they're there. And, of course, they, CGI their mouths so they speak. And the lines for it are horrible. The acting is horrible from the non-dogs. I mean, it was like... I mean, I'm sitting there walking around trying to pour Sprite into cups, and I'm just cringing as I'm pouring Sprites in the cup and giving out things, and I'm just like, this is bad. These are horrible. And they're going to be making a ton of money off of these because they've made 87 of them.
Oh my God.
It's a whole series called the Air Bud or Air Buddies series.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I actually remember when Airbud came out.
Yes! They're all spin-offs of that.
Oh dear.
Why can't we just watch The Incredible Journey again?
But I mean, they're so bad. Now, if you have a kid, and which is weird because a lot of my kids are pretty mature for 4th graders, but they just went gaga over this stuff. Maybe they watched it when they were young. And it's puppies. I'm not going to argue. It is puppies.
That's the only thing going for this movie, as far as I'm concerned, is fucking puppies.
It's just so bad. But if you got young kids, I would say kindergartners, these movies are just right up their alley. Anything else?
Alexander Vorlor 2, Homeward Bound.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
Yeah. Homeward Bound? Oh, yeah. There's... Oh, my God.
The Casablanca of Golden Retriever Halloween movies.
This movie was horrible. I can't give it 5 space herpes. I'm going to give it 4 because it has puppies.
Of Golden Retriever Halloween movie.
But it's
Just wait,
bad.
they'll make an Atlantic Rim Buddies movie with puppies.
Oh, yeah. Probably
I would,
Mecha Buddies.
if you make a Pacific Rim knockoff with puppies, I'm going to fucking watch it. I'm not lying. I'll watch that movie.
Mecha Buddies.
Puppies, mecha, fucking giant kaiju. Alright, I mean, it's ticking all the boxes there. I gotta fucking try it.
Did you see Crimson's comment? So, how much do I have to pledge to your Patreon to make you watch all the Airbud spin-offs that don't include Airbud?
It is on our Patreon right now, and if you would like to, you can go subscribe to that area, and every month, you get to change up which movie we watch. It's already on there. I mean, there's Santa Buddies, Space Buddies, Super Buddies, Spooky Buddies.
Buddies in the shopping center. I walked by it like every week.
Treasure
Because
Buddies.
It didn't fucking sell.
Yeah.
Please, can't we watch fun movies.
People aren't amused by that. They want to hear us rant about movies.
They've got to be making money off of these somehow.
Oh yeah, hand over fist, I'm sure. Parents love movies they put in. Kids are enraptured because puppies.
Yeah, there are 4 Buddies movies: Air, Snow, Space, Santa in one disc, and then there's a Treasure Buddies. I mean, they're just all through this.
Was it like a 2-disc collection?
One disc, most likely.
Sounds like pain and suffering.
Yeah.
So you said 4 space herpes.
Because it has puppies.
Okay, yeah. You take 1 space herpes off because puppies. That's
because of puppies.
Yeah.
You could probably turn the volume off, and it wouldn't seem nearly as horrific.
Correct.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, good point.
All right, so my last movie is, again, not from the century, and not even from after I graduated high school, and I did see it in a theater. It was another Fathom event. It is Die Hard.
Oh, a
Die
Christmas
Hard,
movie.
yeah.
It's like the 30th anniversary of Die Hard, so they showed it. I was originally going to watch it a Sunday with Norin, but we had a game scheduled, and then the guys canceled the game. Screw you, monkeys. So I watched it on Tuesday in the theater. As normal with a Fathom event, it starts off. They've got trivia coming on, and the gentleman sitting next to me is answering the trivia for his girlfriend, and turns to me and goes, "Oh, I apologize. I'm ruining the trivia for you." And I look at him and say, "No, son. I fucking know all this shit." He thought that was amusing. We chatted a bit about stuff in general while the trivia started to repeat. Because the good thing about wearing like a Cowboy Bebop shirt is he's like, "Oh, obviously you know some anime, so I can talk to you about anime." So there we go. We had a little job. So as we get into it, it goes in, and there's a guy, I don't remember his name, introducing it, and he's going through, a beginning plot synopsis. And everyone else is like, "Oh my god, you're spoiling the movie." To which I want to say, and sorry,
This movie is 30 fucking years old. You
Yeah.
cannot spoil it. You've probably already seen it already, and if you hadn't, what the fuck is wrong with you? Live with it. It's 30 years old. And yes, Crimson 1919, this is the Casablanca of action movies.
anyways. It's Die Hard. What do I have to say about Die Hard? It's John McClane, Nakatomi Plaza, Christmas. It changed action movies because somehow they managed to fit the humor, the snark, the action, bloody without being horrific, and all that into an interesting plot and a very good movie on top of it. It was groundbreaking in, so many ways. Because before that, you have, like the Commandos and all that stuff. And sure, they're amusing, but they're just completely out there from realism. They took a left turn, realism took the right. Obviously, they should have turned left at Albuquerque. This movie actually has enough realism to keep you invested. Almost nothing in the movie would break you out of that realism. All the bit characters they're not just one note, they're actually just above one note. They're interesting enough that you're like, okay, I see where this bit character is. Like the principal from the Breakfast Club, who's, I forget the guy's name, who's playing Dwayne T. Robinson, the deputy police chief.
Oh, yeah.
Who shows up on the scene. And he's an asshole, but as it goes on and, like, the feds show up, you can see he's like, you get the idea who he is. He's just like big dick because he's the big dick, and then the bigger dick show up, and he's like all deferential. The characters have some reality to them. And you get was it Reginald Bill Johnson from the stupid TV series with Urkel in it?
Family Matters.
Sure. He's playing a police officer, and he's fairly realistic. Like, oh, he's this old, desk sergeant. You get an idea he'd be mouthy to that guy. It's very amusing. Almost all the dialogue is on point and amusing. Bruce Willis is top of his game because he's actually using an accent
That he never uses again in the series.
just fine. He realized he didn't have to, but it's amusing. It's got good action. It's a great, great action movie. What else can I say? Shocker, 0 space herpes. Well worth the $11 to go see it in the theater. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to more FAZ events of old movies that I haven't seen in a while or don't recollect seeing in the theater because it's a great experience. Um, I definitely suggest it. As a matter of fact, the next one, just to give you guys a little spoiler, the next one is going to be Superman the movie.
Oh.
That is playing both the Sunday after Thanksgiving and then the next Tuesday or Wednesday. So, I mean,
I actually saw that in the theater.
I do not think I did.
I think it might have been the second one that I saw in the theater.
It's probably the second one because the first one is a little bit old.
I'm a little bit old, my pal.
I mean, if I saw it in the theater, it doesn't count because I was 4.
I don't know, when was it?
78.
Oh, okay. I was 8.
So yeah, not that much older.
Yeah.
So I had already seen Star Wars in the theater.
Oh, I mean, I saw Star Wars in the theater too, but I don't remember much.
I do. Han Solo.
Well, the first time, let's be honest. The
I loved.
release, I saw the hell out of it.
Oh yeah, I loved the Tusken Raiders as like a 6-year-old. That was my very first action figure. Was a Tusken Raider. I don't know what it was about them that I liked so much.
So when I worked for Alliance Games Distribution, they were changing the shelves because some of it started to partially collapse. So literally, since I was the shipper, I would drag them out into the front parking lot and rip them apart with my hands and whatever tools I had. And no, it's funny. The FedEx ground guy at that point, RPS, pulled up, and I had just pulled a part off of it, one of the long beams. So I just held it up my hand. It was like, that guy, you ain't ever seen a delivery driver leave as fast. It's like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm fucking out.
That's funny, but it isn't as funny as if you had actually pulled apart those shelves and found an old action figure.
I found a ton of dice that were tiny dice. Like, I mean, really tiny. I can't break them out. You wouldn't be able to see them on the camera.
Guys, I have seen such dice.
I've rolled them in games. But anyways, yeah. So, looking forward to Superman at some point, either when we talk about it next week or the week after, depending on when I see it and all.
I'm hearing the music in my head. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da.
It's one of the best. Okay, look, John Williams. Can we just
Yeah.
say John Williams is
Pretty
the
much
master?
now.
I mean, there are a lot of other guys who amazing. Like, there are a bunch of guys who are just A-list on the soundtrack, but has anyone done more iconic themes than John Williams?
Really amazing.
Indiana Jones, Superman, Star Wars, Jaws. Fuck. I mean,
And more. More than
Rushmore. That's the Mount Rushmore right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the Harry Potter theme is very, iconic. You understand it all, but it's not the Mount Rushmore. I'm sorry. Back to the Future, really good. Not the Mount Rushmore. I mean,
The Lord of the Rings, Howard Shore, amazing, but still.
and I'll be honest, those pieces are some of them are so iconic that when I hear them, I feel that part of the movie.
Don't you? Yeah, I picture it in my head like when the Riders of Rohan come up.
Or
And
right
then
after Gandalf is fallen down with the Balrog, that one, like I get the emotion from that.
I loved all the music from the Balrog. I have all 3 soundtracks, and Jim and I used to listen to them all the time while we were painting miniatures. And I got them out the other day because we were talking about the films, and we were talking about the re-release of the board game or the tabletop game from GW, and so we were like, yeah, we haven't listened to those in a while. Kicked it out, and we're like, we're trying to think, ooh, which part of the movie was this? And then I realized that I accidentally had it on shuffle, so it wasn't going sequentially. I'm like, no wonder none of this makes sense.
Related, back in the day, 2 of my buddies, I don't remember their names. It's been a long time. We all played the Decipher Star Wars CCG. I was hanging out at one of their birthday parties. We were sitting there, and someone put on The Empire Strikes Back. And one of them had their back to the TV, could not see a TV. And from the sound and what's going on, he's describing the scenes as they happen. I'm like, you may have seen this movie too many times. And, I mean, I come from someone who's seen it a lot.
I mean, of course. You know what's funny is Jim can do that with It's a Wonderful Life.
That's a good movie to do it too. I mean, that's
it. And when you get him and his brother in the same room, they could just recite the entire script.
Me and a buddy did that to a slightly less Christmas cheery movie in school, Aliens. We were doing lines back and forth to Aliens. We split to go to our classes, come back, and we just pick it right back up.
Awesome.
Yep, Alien, that's them. I love soundtrack music that brings the feeling back. And it's not to say that too many movies don't do that nowadays. It's just there's so many movies it's harder for that to happen. You know, someone says like, "Oh, the Marvel movies don't have iconic scores." They do. I recognize the Avengers tune everywhere, but it's more that each one has their own score. They're making one appropriate. Like, sure, the Captain America March is amazing. I understand it, but they changed that every movie because each of his movies has a very different theme and feel. So,
is there some element of the music that stays the same, though? I mean, because that's what Howard Shore did across all of the Middle Earth movies. Is even in The Hobbit, you still get a little feel
you get
of
little touches of it. Yeah, that's the sign of a master. You know, Howard Shore's a master. I mean, the guy doing the rest of the stuff, you know, Jackman, I forget his first name, is very good, but he's not one of the masters. I mean, because that's what it is. But man, I love listening to soundtracks. I'll just put on, you know, just a shuffle of YouTube videos of soundtracks. You know, the BSG intro, the original, you know, Buck Rogers. You know, all those old movies.
Buck Rogers. Yeah, well.
I love Buck Rogers too. Buck Rogers is awesome. That theme is great. It's just all those things. Battle Beyond the Stars.
Oh my God.
Which is so good that the composer stole part of it to do The Wrath of Khan when he did that, which is also another great one.
Well, hey guys, it's 8:31.
Yeah, we better stop talking about soundtrack movies because I can talk about soundtracks for a long time.
I suspected as much.
Hint: I like movies.
No.
What?
And music.
What?
Movies and music together. Hell, I could go on about movies that have actual songs in there and how the songs, when done very well, much like a Guardians of the Galaxy, really add to the movie.
Yes. Yep.
And when done poorly, you're like, I don't fucking care. So, we should end it before I go into that.
Yes.
So
I'm going to take you home, guys. All right, guys. We want to thank all of our people that are watching. Be on the lookout for some new stuff coming up. Look out for things coming out. Also, if you're a Patreon subscriber, we appreciate everything you do because everything's will be coming out to y'all first before it comes out to the public. John has a bunch of things coming out. He's got a minis and movies, another mediocre trouble. I have a Dawn of a Harbinger coming out. Kathy will not be streaming on Thursday. But
what?
Kathy,
You're not streaming on Thanksgiving? God,
yeah.
travesty. What the hell? Yeah.
I was just like, wait, why am I not going to be streaming on Thursday? And then I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving comes a little early this month.
I will be at Jim's sister's house.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Playing ping pong.
As a matter of fact, everyone have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy
Yes.
it. Soak up that family time. Or, if you're not with the family, soak up that alone time. Sometimes you need that too.
Also, be safe. Also,
Yeah, damn right. Be
if you're
safe.
traveling. I will be doing a Dawn of a Harbinger on Tuesday. We will be doing that on Facebook Live, and I will also be streaming Wednesday Facebook Live too. Some more painting. I don't know what I want to do.
I will be streaming tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. to noon Central. I will continue working on my Geller Proc if anybody wants to join in. So Monday, yes. Thursday, no.
Yes. I'm going to try and actually record another minis and movies this week. We'll see if I can get time to watch The Expendables 2 to continue that streak.
Other than that, guys, thanks for joining us. Can't wait to do this again. From Weather Nice, I'm Gonzo.
I'm John.
Jinx!
Good night.
Night.
It's .com.
At that time, you know what? We still need to get Kathy to do her solo review.
Oh, yeah.
Not yet watched Solo.
Yeah, but don't worry, you won't have to do it solo.
I was gonna ask, if you guys had already done yours, and I would have to do mine solo.
Oh no, I did mine solo, but someone else
Gonzo
didn't watch it because you weren't on the stream.
Right?
Say la
Well,
vie.
You didn't hear the whole story. I had to buy my mom a Blu-ray player just to show her solo.